Last week, I discovered something horrible. I was on a call with a client who was refused after paying IDP $2,000 for his study permit application. The problem was in his letter of explanation, also known as the statement of purpose. The agent who made the letter of explanation raised huge red flags in the eyes of the visa officer. In this video, we'll make your letter of explanation section by section together to make sure you get approved. And at the end of the video, I'll give you a tool that hasn't been shared by anyone yet to help make your application successful. Number 1, introduction. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but nobody cares about you. Visa officers have quotas for how many applications they have to process, and they're skimming through your application really fast in search of keywords. One of the most important key phrases is your professional background, admission to a Canadian school, and going back home. Please don't waste their time by talking about how amazing and beautiful and stunning Canada is, as this can actually work against you and make them think that you're planning to stay permanently and not leave when you graduate, even though this might be your real intention. A famous Chinese general, Sun Tzu, once said, "Conceal your dispositions and your condition will remain secret, which leads to victory. Show your dispositions and your condition will become clear, which leads to defeat." Number 2, how studying in Canada will benefit me in my home country. This is where most people or even unprofessional agents make the biggest mistake. They either don't have this section or it's called something like why Canada is the greatest country for studies. When the person I had a meeting with, who was refused after spending $2,000 on some shady agents, showed me his letter of explanation, his statement of purpose, it became clear. In this section, the agent said Canada is known to have the best schools, diversity, and open people. Visa officers are like an algorithm. They look for clear data that demonstrates that you have reasons to go back home after you graduate. This is also known as a return on investment. This is why I introduced clear numbers of how much I'm making right now versus how much I will be making if I study in Canada, as I will get promoted in my job. Also notice how I bring up actual cases of my fellow employees getting promoted because they studied abroad. This is extremely important. Section number 3, why I'm not pursuing my studies in my home country. Naturally, the visa officer is looking for red flags, like why would this person pay triple tuition instead of just studying at home and saving so much money? Therefore, it's important you mention how local education will not lead you anywhere high in your professional growth. It's also where I'd mention certain courses in your program that are unique and hard to come across in your home country. Number 4, how I will be funding my education in Canada. You like watching my videos because I'm very straightforward with you, and I'll be exactly that right now, so listen up. Even though the Department of Immigration says you only need to show $10,000 for studies in Canada, in most cases, this leads to a financial refusal, when in reality, the government wants to see that you will not be a burden to Canadian taxpayers. Therefore, to get approved, you need to demonstrate you have enough money for the entire study program and $10,000 a year for every year you'll stay in Canada, plus about $5,000 for travel expenses. Therefore, this is what the final section looks like. It's also helpful to demonstrate that you have assets like a house, apartment, or stocks. However, unlike liquid money in your account, assets are not mandatory, but they increase your chances of getting approved. Number 5, ties to my home country. This section is like a bow to tie everything together. If you look at what I said, it states, I will return to China for many reasons. Firstly, I have my mother and father who are still living here. And as my parents are elderly, they require constant care. Secondly, with a Canadian diploma, I will be able to receive a promotion and advance professionally. Lastly, I have a strong connection to the culture and people of China, which I would like to maintain. Family is a big factor, and if you have elderly parents, especially if they have chronic diseases, put it down with proof, of course, in terms of documents. If you have a spouse and children, it's wise to apply without them so that you can have them as a tie and bring them over right after you land in Canada. Next is career progression, and we've already talked about it enough. And of course, culture. But this one is the weakest out of the 3, so I recommend only including it if you volunteer somewhere or go to a local church. And pay attention to the words you say, because everything will require a supporting document. There are obviously other sections in this letter of explanation that you can see on the screen right now, but I've only touched the 5 most important sections. And now the big announcement. To make it even easier for you, I've built a tool that didn't exist in the world of immigration before. It's an AI-driven LOE builder. All you need is to answer the following questions, then submit them, and within a few seconds, a draft is sent to your inbox, which uses practices we've had over the years that got hundreds of people approved. Once you generate your letter of explanation draft, there will also be an option to schedule a call with me if you want to discuss how to improve your specific case. Also, when you get access to the tool, you can make as many letters as you need. All you have to do is refresh this question form. As your letter of explanation or statement of purpose is the most crucial document in your application, I made this LOE approval bundle that includes the LOE builder, LOE section by section guide, and 3 sample LOEs of different students who were approved before. At the moment, this all you need bundle is only $29. The price is super low, but it will probably go up because we've already received a lot of feedback from people from all over the world that already purchased this product. Click on the link in the description below to get it yourself. Like this video as it's got a ton of value that my team and I put into it, and I'll see you next week.